Welcome to Jack Tar's Journeys. Like to know how we build houses in the UK? I've just finished the development. I'm going to walk you around it, walk you in one of the houses. I'm going to show you how we built them, and then finally I'm going to do a flyover on the drone. Let's go. So for the last 18 months, these are the type of homes that we've been building for a housing association. And we've put 43 of them up. Different colours and designs, they're all quite nice. So I built a little estate, and they're timber framed. I thought I'd show how we built timber framed units. I didn't manage to get all the footage as I was doing it, because obviously we're managing it. You do get a bit busy every now and again, as I'm sure you realise, but it's turned out quite nice. And like I said, I have got some aerial footage. Some of the people have already moved into some of the homes. Anyway, let's get round this corner a minute. I'll just show you it up. I did actually do a small part of the video on one pair of houses, but these ones, because it was on reclaimed ground, we had to pile all these homes. So a pile is just a big stilt really that goes down to bedrock. So there you go, that's what I've been doing for the last 18 months or so. This is going to be a car park. We're just waiting for the white liners to come now. Right next to a brook, a Babylon brook, which we'll go over and have a quick look at that while I'm here. Sometimes see trout in there. I did see a kingfisher here yesterday. Yeah, he's not in today, but it's very nice. Sometimes come down here when it's hot, like today, because if you look, literally, if you sit down there, it's just nice and cool. Anyway, let's get on with it and show you how these homes are built, and then get you some aerial footage. The other thing is, I had a cheaper drone, which is a good drone, but it only had a double gimbal on it. And then I've recently got a DJI Pro 5 Mini, or Mini 5 Pro, and that one, it's got the extra part of the gimbal on, so it just makes it hover like a kestrel or a hawk. The other one you'll see when I put the videos on. I'll only put little clips on, and then I'll do one clip of the whole site with a little bit of music at the end. So stay to the end. If you've got any questions, then stick them in the comments below for us. Yeah, this is almost complete. We've got 4 homes left to go, which is these down here. We need to just give them a clean up. There's a couple of little bits of snagging to do on them. We just had the BT, so the BT fitted today, and there's a couple of bits and pieces to do. You can obviously see the dirt over here where they've been pulling cables and all the muck and mires come out of it. But yeah, there you go. The other thing we've also had to do on here is all our storm water. So that's all the water that comes off your roofs, down the roads, down your drain pipes and all that, all goes into this, which is an attenuation pond. If it'll turn round, there we go. Down there is a pond. It looks a bit dry at the moment, just purely and simply because we've had no rain. I'm not moaning about that, because we have enough of it when it's raining. And here's the other half. You can see that the banks are sloped, so this, due to what it does is the water all comes down into that. You can't see it quite, Let's have a look. I think I've got a photo of it, I'll put it on the video. Just down in there, see that concrete structure, and there's a hole, a flap. That's called a head wall. So all our storm drainage is connected to that, comes into this pond, and then flows through. We'll have reeds and all that are getting planted in here. We can't plant them at the moment because it's out of season for them. We'll plant reeds which will act as a filter. It then goes down over to the corner over there, and right over there you'll see stones in a basket. That's called a gabion basket. It's got a few things. They also call it a Reno mattress. So it's basically loads of stones. The water comes through, finds its way through that, and it's already filtered with the reeds. That further filters it, then it puts it into the stream, and that way we've got rid of all our storm water very, very simply. The other thing is we've had to level. You see along there, there's a load of gabion baskets. We had to drop the ground level at that point to allow for possibility of future flooding. So that's now a floodplain all the way along there. Because it's a small village and it tends to flood, all our storm water comes this way, and we want to stop anyone else's water from going that way. So that's what's basically happened there. Again, I can answer any questions. I've got all the details in that if you need to know anything. But the homes themselves are really quite simple. There's not much to them. Let's just take a quick look inside. So because they're housing association spec, there's no frills. They literally, they've got a lounge. It's a good sized lounge. Cupboard under the stairs. A kitchen. All new homes come with a water closet downstairs now. A little small garden which will be getting turfed this week. And then through to the upstairs. There we go. Let's go upstairs. We've still got touching up and bits of painting to do. So obviously, bathroom speaks for itself. It's got a bath and it's a room. A cupboard for an airing cupboard with a bar heater, space heater. One of the bedrooms. And then along the landing to the front 2 bedrooms, which is the smaller box room. Again, it's got a built-in cupboard in this one, so it's a bit of storage space, and then a slightly larger bedroom at the front. So that's what we've been doing and what we've done. There's a lot of trials and tribulations, as many of you will know if you've done any building at all. Comes in all walks of life, but it's come in this anyway. Right, let's get on and crack on, and I'll show you how we've done this. So this is ring beams, so we've got the piles. Which you can see down there, been cropped and cut. And we've now put in this reinforcing, there's another pile. Formed a shutter, and we will now pour concrete in this. This is going to be the ring beam. This is actually for a single dwelling, but as you can see, piles all the way around. They were cropped and the steel left up and bent to take the concrete, which is coming shortly. So there we are with that. That's how we get our footings done, or foundations, once we've got piles in. Several types of foundation. This one's a piled one, but you can obviously have raft, which is just a big piece of concrete that goes across the whole lot. Looks like a slab. There we are. Let's move on and show you the next part. So these are what the ring beams, which you've looked at just now, this is what they look like when they're all gone hard and gone off, and they're ready for the brickies. So the brickies will come in now and they'll do the substructure block work. It's a block work that's going to be buried, so obviously it's underneath the ground, most of it. We'll get that in, then we'll get the drainage and services inside them. We call them the oversights, and then we'll put the block and beam on. But that's where we are with them plots at the moment. So these are our slabs as they've been poured. As you can see, they've got perimeter insulation to stop cold bridging, and we've yet to put some, we put a conditioner on top and it stops it cracking and hardening too quick, which I'll just quickly show you on the next plot. There we have it. So they spray that and hopefully that will stop it cracking, and that's the finished article, so that's a finished floor level. Obviously the next part of our little jigsaw is to bring the external block work up, so it's sort of 225mm down from that, and then we get all our scaffold margin in, which we set the scaffold on. It's stone, rammed, whacked, and then we put the timber frame up. Very, very simple. Right, let's crack on. So we form our first floors on the ground floor. It's the safest way of doing it. As you can see, they've got all the joists are in, they've put all the flooring on, and they'll form sacrificial stairwells so people can't fall through. We'll then lift these one on top of the other, drop the panels in, and then drop these on top using a crane. I say drop it, they don't drop, they put them on nice and gently. But that's the next part of our jigsaw, very simple. Obviously all homes need power, water, gas, and these are set into trenches prior to doing a lot of the other works. Here we go, I'll show you, just take you through so you can have a quick look. It's trenched, and then we put the water in first and the gas, followed by the electric. Got the electric coming on Friday. So we've got the floor for the first floor is all now done, ready, obviously with a sacrificial stairwell in the middle so we don't fall through it on my building. You see the stairwell there, let's come to the stairwell. We'll lift these off tomorrow with the crane, drop the panels in, and then drop these back on. Right, let's crack on. Well, we've started the timber framing on plots 1 and 2. We've lifted one floor on top of the other using the crane. We'll start to erect all the external panels first. We'll then do the party wall, which is the wall through the middle of the two houses. Get all the head binders on the top to make sure that's all nice and rigid and tight. Then we'll lift the floors on top of that and do the same for this plot. Come and show you once we've got a little bit more done, and you'll be able to see just how we do construct these timber frame units. There's the internal walls all being lifted inside. You'll note we've got the scaffold up. You have to have the scaffold up, and we've got 2 inside handrails, which are the handrails on the other side. The ones you see on the outside are called guardrails. They're guardrails as well, but we put them on the inside to stop any falls from height. To better explain it, I'll show you. The tall ones are called standards, and you see these 2 across here, they're called guardrails. That stops us falling. As you can see the young lad up there, That way you can't fall from height. So they're putting these internal panels in. It all adds rigidity and also allows us to safely put the floor pan on top of it. Right, let's crack on. And there we go, we've just landed the first floor. This floor will now be lifted and put on top of that one, and then all these walls will be built. Once they're built, you can see just outside there we've got the truss lorry waiting. We build the roof on the first floor and then we lift that out, put the panels in and drop it on. But I will show you them as we get along to that stage, which is next week now. Right, let's crack on. So here we are with our roof sat on the floor. So we built them on top of that first floor as I've just shown. As you can see, it's got quite a bit of this cross bracing in. This is a safety feature so that it stops any roofers falling through. So we've got more timber on here than we need, but it is a safety feature. It's an added thing to stop it. Got the crane there, and right just behind them there are the first floor panels. So we'll start loading them up now. There's our other roof. You get a better view of it here. So they literally built them on top of the first floor, craned them off. Now we're going to crane those panels in. Once those panels are on, this will be craned up and sat on top of it. I'll get a video of that. First floor panels, first lot, go on to the last two plots. So we've got the top floor panels up. He's just getting ready now to lift the roof. We'll get them, lift him on. That's the first one. Then they get the second roof on. Hopefully that's the end of the crane for the day. Just a couple of spandrel panels maybe. So here's our crane lifting our first of our last pair of roofs. And there you go. That's our first roof on. I'll come back when they've put the other one on.
All these strong men here, they could have helped you.
So there's our last one going on.
I'd get too carried away, I'd just hold on to it there and lift myself up.
just in time. So, squeaked that one in. Just a few last minute adjustments, and that one's all but there. Literally a little couple of adjustments to make. And there we have it. That's the last two of our 43 units. So now that our timber frame's complete, and you can see all the red bits that you can see coming down here and all around the windows, these are fire socks. There's a batten which breaches the cavity, and then you've got the fire sock, and that basically stops any spread of fire through each of the houses, especially up the party wall, obviously the dividing wall between the two homes. We're now getting it ready to get our roof tiles on, so what the scaffolders are doing what's called a roof and lift, or they sometimes call them a Mickey lift. They're going to take it up so you're less than 450 from the top of the scaffold to the top of the fascia board. That way the roofers have only got a short up to the roof. So there's our roof on now, and if I walk around to the front, see we've got solar panels to go on, so you can see the leads and the brackets all set for solar panels. They'll be going on tomorrow. So with our windows ready to fit now, they're in the houses. Doors have just been fitted. We do this so that we get the house watertight as soon as possible, so we can get all our internal trades in, and do things like we plasterboard the stairwell. Because this is a party wall, we need to put a 12mm board, a 19mm plank, a 38mm batten, and then a 12mm board on top of that, and then we can fit our stairs. We can't fit them until then, otherwise we have to take them out again. The sacrificial stairwell that I was talking about just now is, as you can see up above us, is fitted on this house because this is up. So this is what they do. The floor is what we just showed you, and you can see the sacrificial stairwell. Why has it got gaps? That's so we can pass boards up through the internal or the external side of it, and that way we can get the party walls done. We need to get these party walls done first, really. So once the roof goes on, that'll be my first part of the internals. Get the party wall done. Right, crack on. There we go, the windows are starting to go in now, you can see. So we'll get it in the dry as quick as we can. We can then first fix inside, which I'll show you at another stage. Right, let's crack on. So we've got the stairwell prepared, ready for these stairs to go in. Here's all the bits and pieces. They only turned up yesterday, so they were a little bit late. We can then go around first fixing this plot. It's sort of ready, but until we get the stairs in, it's not really safe. So you can see we've boarded all the party wall, ready for the stairs to go back against it. Right, let's wing on and have a look at a first fix. So we've now had all our first fix done. So we've got all our electrics, our plumbing, you can see up there. This is going to be the kitchen. So obviously he's been on test, just not taken off. That's for the extractor fan. You'll see all these bits of timber put up here. These are mattresses. When we put the kitchen units up along here, you need to have something to fix to. So That's what they're for. They're also down for the base units as well. But that's all the plumbing, electrical and the carpentry done. These mattresses are for hanging radiators on. You'll notice that we're using plastic pipe. So the reason for that is it's cheaper, it's easier to run. And because we've got I-beams, which are these joists, it's 2 pieces of timber with a piece of basically OSB or something similar in it. There's only certain places you can drill and it's certain depths, and then if it's above that you need to pattress it and pack it and bolt it and all sorts. There's all sorts of varying ways of doing it, but as a rule we've got nothing massive going through. It's just all our cabling, all the plumbing's all lagged. The next part will be our borders, and they'll come and insulate all these spaces up here. Incidentally, all around the perimeter, so you can't see it, but right the way along that beam there, on the other side of it, it's insulated. We don't then get no cold spots. So we've got an insulated floor, which I've showed you. The walls are totally insulated. The ceilings are insulated. And as we go up the stairs, the loft obviously will be insulated. Let's quickly nip up and have a look at these. Again, all the cabling's in. We've also got our inverter up in the loft for the solar, with a walkway on there so they remain safe when they're servicing it. And it's on fireboard, and there will be a detector up there. Also on the eaves, we've got insulation tucked in there, so we don't get a cold crossover on that as well. Because in the past, there's been some problems with damp running along this area here in homes. But there we are, ready for boarding. So next stage boarding, I'll bring us in once we start the boarding on these timber framed units. So we've now got our block work almost up on our pair of plots. Just got this bit here, we've got the gables to top out when this scaffold gets dropped. And then obviously round the front, that's just got to be done. Just got to have a brick in the top and then some install some contraband in there then. Yeah, so we're done.